Good morning. How is everyone today? Now that's an interesting picture.
What is it? Oh.
Okay. All right, we're going to talk about respiratory today. Thanks for joining me. This is my continuing education, and for those of you that don't know me or are going to listen to the replay, I'm Diana Hinkle, and I try to help you understand more about essential oils and how we can truly have what we need at our fingertips in a natural way. And I realized this a few years back when I was introduced to essential oils, and I was like, oh my gosh, if I can save money and it can be so simple for most things that happen in our lives, I'm like, why don't everybody else know this? And so this is what created this continuing education, so that you can learn more. Not only are you learning more, I'm learning more, because we are constantly in learning mode, because you can never know it all. And I had a slight cough this morning, and the reason I wanted to talk about respiratory is because it's that time of year again. We're already hearing about people with the flu and respiratory issues. So I want to help you learn about some things that you can do in your own home that can help you out. And sometimes it's simple, especially if you catch it early. But if you don't catch it early enough, then we get into it's so overwhelming, and it's taken over our body so much that then we need some help. And part of that help comes from our doctors, from medications. So first off, I want to let you know this is nothing about treating, curing, or diagnosing anything. All I'm here to do is to help you understand essential oils, how they work, and why you would want to consider them in your everyday life. And for those of you that have children or animals, oh my gosh, this can be a lifesaver for a lot of us. So today, let's that respiratory. First off, what are essential oils? They are aromatic compounds that plants give us, and it's in every single plant that you find on this planet, because I call it their lifeblood, because it helps them in either protection against disease or predators, or it attracts predators, for pollination. So flowers are your number one. Oh my gosh, that's attracting someone. It even attracts us, right? Because when we are attracted to something that we like the smell of, then don't you want more of it, right? Or we go, oh my gosh, have you guys smelled such and such? Because we like it so much. Well, it's the same in essential oils. When you like something, you want to use it, right? Or you just can't have enough of it. My favorite flower, by the way, is a lilac. I can't get lilac in the true natural form. Unfortunately, everything that's out there that smells like lilac is synthetically reproduced, because lilacs, for some reason, the compounds break down and they can't keep it consistent in its natural state. I'm like, that's disappointing. So knowing that everything that I smell lilac is completely synthetic, it's a bummer. It really is. But everything else that I'm aware of does contain their lifeblood of essential oils that helps us. And we have billions of cells in our bodies, but what's really phenomenal is just one drop of an essential oil has trillions of molecules, and those trillions of molecules identify with each individual cell. And so when you apply topically, you can have a response within 30 seconds. And it's within every cell within 30 minutes, which is incredible because most of us think of that as like, oh, that's just hogwash, right? But I'll tell you, if you've ever come across someone and you've given them an essential oil for a headache or a stomach ache, and then you are actually giving, whether it's topical or aromatic, because aromatic is the fastest way to get a response. And then they look at you a minute later and go, oh my gosh, my headache is gone, or my nausea is gone. And it's like, oh my gosh, that's incredible, right? And when you first experience that, it's like, are you sure? There's doubt in us too, until we actually understand what essential oils do. And that's the best part. Science is amazing if you really start looking at it and thinking, because every essential oil has specific compounds that help with specific things. So if you start looking into the science and start reading labels, especially medication, and then you go, oh, this medication has the same compound as this over here, this essential oil. Oh my gosh, really? So when you start looking and researching and look at the science, it's like it's a no-brainer that we probably want to think about using essential oils in our home. Now, not every essential oil is created equal. I will say that there are many essential oil companies out there. I use doTERRA because I feel that the integrity is there. They do a lot of research. We do not get any essential oil unless it meets their standard of quality, which is certified pure therapeutic grade. Now, anybody can have that, right? It is a trademark through doTERRA, but what I want to say is if it does not meet that standard 100%, we don't get it. Somebody else will get it, but we don't. And if you ask the growers that we are affiliated with, or we have what we call co-impact sourcing, we have signed contracts with growers around the globe who have artisans, they're artisans that have perfected the distillation process of the essential oil. They know right off the get-go that doTERRA means what they say, because there's been growers that have said, well, it's 95%, and they're like, it doesn't matter. It's not 100%. Your oil does not meet our standard at 100%. We're not taking it. They've refused batches and batches of essential oils because it did not meet that standard. So for me, quality is very important, because the quality means that every time I use it, it's going to be the same. It's going to work. When you go to a store and you see a label that says 100% pure, does not necessarily mean that everything you're getting in that bottle is 100%. There's a lot of essential oil companies out there that have fillers, and some of them are very toxic, especially to your animals. So be very cautious and careful about the essential oils that you are purchasing. Do your homework on them, okay? There are some really great oils out there, but there's some really bad ones out there too. But when we talk about toxicity, it's the same when it comes to like candles, fragrances that we use in our homes. Febreze is probably one of the worst ones that you could possibly get in your home, especially if you have animals. And we won't get into that. I do have another video that talks about that. And so really think and be cautious about what you're using around you, your family, and your animals. Make sure that it meets the standard. Now, respiratory issues in themselves, what are they? Oh, and by the way, I forgot one thing. There are many essential oils out there that you cannot use internally. There are many essential oils that doTERRA has that you can use internally or as a cooking spice, okay? If you don't know, read your labels on any essential oil that you get, because it should say on the label whether or not you can ingest it. With doTERRA, it's super simple because it actually says, it's a supplement fact, and it says you can dilute 1 drop in 4 ounces of liquid. Okay, 1 drop in 4 ounces. Why is that? Because essential oils are extremely powerful and very potent, especially doTERRA's, because we're looking at that 100%, right? That certified pure therapeutic grade, knowing that it meets the standard of quality and it's going to work. It's very potent. So less more often is better than more less often. Okay, let me repeat that. Less more often is better than more less often. We're so used to like 3 times a day for medication or 4 times a day, but essential oils evaporate, or I shouldn't say evaporate, but they dissipate out of the body 3 to 4 hours. Okay, there are some oils that stay in the body longer, like your rooted or resin type oils like frankincense. Vetiver is another one. They're very thick, heavy oils. And so those will stay in your system longer, up to 8 hours. So when you're using essential oils, every couple of hours or hour is better than every 4 hours or 4 or 5 times a day. You want to get on top of whatever's going on in your system. Now, there are a lot of things that you can do for respiratory support. I just yesterday actually ran into somebody who has some sinus issues, and it's like, well, what have you done? And he's taking antibiotics, he's tried the neti pot, but only with saline solution. That is an alternative. But when you add essential oils to that, oh my gosh, it's amazing what it can do. And sometimes it's a little bit heavy when it comes to creating that or letting everything get loose, right? Especially if you have sinus issues. But it can be very helpful. Another one is actually getting a cup of hot water, not the kind that you're going to drink. You're going to use it as a steam, and you're going to put like peppermint, lemon, and maybe rosemary. There are some other ones too, and I'll open this up for questions or anybody that has a recipe that they use. And it helps in, and you lean over it with a towel, of course, but you're going to create those vapors in the steam. Okay, that's what essential oils do. And so when you do that, you're going to smell all those vapors, and you're going to consume by aromatic all that goodness from your essential oils. Now, everyone is different when it comes to what works best for you, because everybody, the chemistry is different. And so everybody has different issues. Our bodies respond differently to everything. So finding the right thing for you may take a little bit of art, but that's okay. Use what you have, because that's the most important thing. Always use what you have, and then decide if it's working for you or not. Now with doTERRA, we have a lot of different options for respiratory support. And a lot of people are on the go, don't have a lot of time, and they don't want to smell like anything, right? Heaven forbid you smell like an essential oil. There are some essential oils that are like totally awesome to smell. It's like perfume, right? So what does it smell like when you put it on you? And do you care? So doTERRA has a drop, and it's called a respiratory drop, not a cough drop like we are so accustomed to hearing, right? Why do we call it a cough drop? I don't know. I honestly don't know. But I do know that these are exceptional when you have a lot of sinus issues, when you're all plugged up and you can't drain. these are really good because they have eucalyptus as one of the main ingredients. You have peppermint as well in this. And let's see, what else do we have in here? Oh, lemon. Lemon's always good, right? Let's see, thyme, and we have Melissa. Melissa is your powerhouse. And Melissa actually is pretty expensive through doTERRA, like $135 on a wholesale for a little 5 ml bottle, and I don't have it right here with me. But it's a powerhouse when it comes to respiratory issues and helping that virus or whatever you've got going on, you know, it's helping the body respond, okay? So these are exceptional. And I'll tell you, for me, when I use these is when I'm totally severe, totally plugged up for whatever reason, I always choose this one because it will help me drain, okay? Help that sinus that's all plugged up drain out. Now, if you don't mind smelling like something, most of us have heard of Vicks. So one wise tell or old remedy would be put Vicks on your feet and put socks on when you go to bed. Well, we can do that with a Breathe stick, okay? Or the oil. Breathe essential oil is another one because it's all the same ingredients. And you can see, we use this one quite well. It's like I'm down to the core. Usually it's got something in there, but it's, yeah, smells heavenly. Especially because for me, I had like a bloody nose last night, and I'm like, I don't get bloody noses. And that's really odd for me. And it's been very dry, cold weather here lately. And I think that has a lot, obviously has a lot to do with it. So it's another reason why respiratory is a good thing to think of, to talk about today. And even the gentleman yesterday, I had peppermint with me. So I'm like, oh, you have a mustache. So here, try some peppermint on your mustache and breathe it reapply about every hour. And he's like, he goes, oh, that's pretty cool because it quickly helped open up his sinuses a little bit. Now, it's not going to work. It's not a miracle cure, don't get me wrong, okay? But it can help in opening up and helping your body, helping those cells recover faster so that you can get well, okay? Now, peppermint comes in all different ways, shapes, and sizes, and we also have a peppermint beadlet. Now, there's 125 little beadlets. I'll open these up and show you because I have people put these in their water, and I might get one out. There we go. Got two. And they're extremely tiny. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but it's a little tiny bead. So I look at it as a breath mint, which is really cool. And 125 of these. Now these are easy because if I have some discomfort, especially if I've gone out to eat and I have that bloatiness or I just feel nauseated for whatever reason, I can swallow one or two of these and make things better. My husband, on the other hand, he'll give like 4 or 5 of these to somebody that has an issue. And it's like, or that they cannot breathe, and he gives them 4 or 5 of those beadlets. It's like, well, when they burst open, they can breathe. So you do not have to put things on topically right at the problem. You can put it on your chest, right, where usually we have respiratory issues is in our chest and usually our sinuses. But we can use things like peppermint and use it internally. That's the same thing with the Breathe. We're actually, with drops, we are actually using it internally. And it does what it needs to do. There's also helping boost your immune system, especially this time of year. How do you do that? There's a lot of ways of doing that. On Guard products that doTERRA carries is awesome. And they also have a little beadlet, same thing. You can swallow a couple of these every day and help boost your immune system, especially if you're outdoors or you tend to have issues this time of year, how do you create your immune system to make it better so that you either don't get sick or it's not as bad. Okay, usually it ends up being not as bad, especially if you have a very severe problem with that. And so I also want to talk to you about some other essential oils that are really good for respiratory. We have lime, awesome for respiratory. I already talked about Melissa. And green mandarin is another one that's good for respiratory and overall immune support. And it's also good for the skin. And rosemary is another one that's really good. And I don't remember. Oh, there's one thing. And cardamom. And cardamom is in your breathe drops. So that's another one that's really good for respiratory support. Black pepper, pink pepper, those two are another ones that are good for respiratory support. When you look at these, you look at them, they're anti-inflammatory response, and they're current. So like black pepper, for instance, or pink pepper, it reduces inflammation of the body. So if that's part of why you have the problems, then that would be what you'd want to do. And then eucalyptus always opens your airways up and supports the respiratory. Peppermint, we know, is really good for opening up your respiratory and your airways. And then rosemary is also super good for that. And but lime is another one. And so we think about lime as like, oh my gosh, really? Lime is good for respiratory support? Never thought about that. So when you really think about what it is that we have, and the biggest thing that I want to really focus on is that when you first start feeling like something is coming on, if you feel that little tickle in the throat, or you just can't breathe very well, these are things that you can do prior to really getting severe. And what I mean by that is most of us will wait before we do anything about what's going on. And then we get worse. And then when we decide to either go to the store and get something over the counter, or we decide to go to the doctor and see what's going on, by that time we're in it by days. And now when you start using anything, whether it's a medication from the doctor or your essential oils or anything else, you are going to have to be diligent of taking the medication or using your essential oils to get on top of whatever's going on. Where if you had what you needed at home, you could have started right from the get-go and probably would have saved yourself some money and not had to go to the doctor. It doesn't always happen, but the likelihoods of that is pretty high that you would not have to go to the doctor, okay? If you feel uncomfortable, you just don't know what's going on, go to your doctor. Get a diagnosis. Once you have that diagnosis, guess what? Now you have options. You decide what you want to do. Because there can be options, there are options. You just decide whether or not you want a natural way or you want to go the way the doctor wants you to go, okay? Sometimes it's important to really know and have someone that can mentor you through that if you're just not sure about the natural way, if that's where you want to go. That's why we have doctors, so that we can be diagnosed and we can look at all the options and decide where we want to be and what we want to do. Because it's up to me, it's not up to my doctor, it's up to me, okay? And sometimes though, we get into our doctors and they have no idea what essential oils are all about, and they'll tell you like, oh, don't do that, because they're afraid of you doing something wrong. And then they're afraid that, oh, you're going to end up coming back at them saying, well, that didn't work, or you're going to sue them or whatever. But please know that you do have, it's your body and you decide. Now, I know there's a couple of people on here that have had some, I lost my word, that have used things periodically for respiratory support. So what now I'm going to do is open it up to any of you that have had an experience with essential oils, and what did you do for your respiratory support? Is there anybody that wants to add anything?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can unmute yourself.
I don't know how. Am I unmuted? Am I unmuted?
Nope. Nobody wants to add anything? Now there are some, oh, there we go. I think that, Teresa, let me see if I can unmute you. I'll go to where I need to. Okay. Okay, you're okay, let me try to unmute.
How about now?
I can't hear you. So wait a minute. Wait a minute. Oh, you're unmuted, but I can't hear you.
Okay, I don't know what to do. You can't hear me?
No, I can't hear you.
Okay.
Oh,
Here.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, you can hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, what I've done is I found very effective for myself and my family is 1 drop of thyme and 3 to 5 drops of lemon in a tea.
So 1 drop of thyme and 3 drops of lemon?
Yeah, 3 to 5, and then honey. And it's awesome for breaking up the phlegm in your lungs.
And so you put that in a cup of hot water.
Mm-hmm.
Or warm water, and you drink that?
Yeah, and you can drink it 3, 4, as often as you need, 5 times a day.
Okay. I have not tried that. All right.
Very effective.
Okay. Awesome. And let me put that in the chat so we can save it. So for a okay, let me put this out. Okay, so we drink I'm gonna say warm water.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
All right. Add 1 drop of thyme. Would help if I could spell this morning. And 3 to 5 drops of lemon.
Yes.
Okay. And add
raw honey, raw unfiltered honey.
Do you use like a teaspoon, or do you just make it to taste?
To taste.
Okay. And you do that like whenever needed?
As often. I don't know if you remember when I was in Washington, how sick I get. Do you remember those times?
Uh-huh.
And when I came here, I started looking and really delving into respiratory, and I found this thyme and lemon, and I found it very effective.
Okay. Well, here in Washington State, we have so many mold spores because it's always pretty wet. Of course, the last few days has been pretty cold, right?
Yeah, well, Houston is the same way.
I won't complain.
Yeah, yeah.
It's today, so it's all right. So yeah, so it's finding the things that work for you where you are, and you know, what are the circumstances around. There can be so many possibilities that you can use that it's amazing. Um, there are thousands of remedies for things if you just take the time. Yeah, so all
Do
right.
you still hear me?
Yeah.
You still hear me? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm trying to unmute myself.
Oh. All right. Well, thank you for Teresa for that, because you know we all have different things, and you can find things on YouTube as well. Dr. Story is another one. He's an ENT, and he's got some interesting remedies that you can utilize too. I know people that have used the neti pot with the essential oils, and it just boom, done. And so it just depends on where your comfort level is, right? And if you're going to apply topically, or if you're going to put it in water, what are you going to do? So that's a great recipe. I appreciate that. And for those of you that are maybe you want to know more about doTERRA, you can always go to my website, which is another way of going. You can look for science. There's plenty of stuff on YouTube. But another thing that you can do is you can become a wholesale customer if you want things to end up, if you want to save money. And most of us want to save money. And by doing that, we are, it's just that. It is a wholesale customer. You save 25% off of your off of retail. And for me, that is, I mean, you can't ask for anything better, because everybody wants to save money, right? And I'm one of those. But there's been so many times when somebody will come around me, or I will find them, and it's like, guess what? They need something that I have because I can help them. And that's truly what this is all about, is what can you have that you can help somebody else, or what can you have to help your family? And that's all this is about. Of course, I'm looking for partners to help in sharing with others, always looking for partners. And if you are one of those that would like to partner up with me, please reach out to me. I'm happy to let you know more about that. And I'm putting my doTERRA website on here. There we go. And you can look at that, and you can always get a hold of me through that site. Again, you guys are great. Thanks, Teresa, for the extra tidbit today. It's always nice to hear from somebody else besides just myself. And because I'm one of those that will put lemon, lavender, and peppermint on my sinuses if I have a sinus issue going on. And I'll tell you what, it really draws out a lot, but the peppermint is so many fumes that it really makes the eyes water. So I always tell everybody with caution, be cautious about that peppermint. But it is awesome when you can have alternatives like that. And lemon, lavender, and peppermint actually happen to be a natural for not just respiratory support, but those seasonal threats that we have going on. And now is the season to start building up your antibodies. So you guys have a great week. We will see you again next week. And please feel free to reach out to me if you want the live or replay links directly to your phone. Reach out to me, and I will send you that information, and we will add you to the links that come directly to your phone. Well, thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you next week. Bye, Amanda.